Namo Ramanaya. I request everyone to keep your phones on silent mode. A warmly welcome to each and every person here to the centenary celebration of Sri Ramanasram 100 years celebration. The centenary of Ramanashram has been celebrated in Madurai, Tiruvannamalai, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, New Delhi, Hyderabad, and now in Mumbai. I would first of all like to thank KRISHNAN ji for granting me once in many lifetime grand opportunity to introduce all saints in the program today. I feel humbled. Namrata Biawat, an advocate by profession practicing in the Honorable High Court, Mumbai, and also Honorable Supreme Court of India, and handle legal matters internationally, I am drawn to divine Bhagwan, Ramana and Ramanashram due to the infinite blessings of my grandfather, a devotee of Bhagwan, Padma Vibhushan Pandit NARAYAN. Pandit NARAYAN's name is synonymous with that of the Sarangi. The status that Sarangi enjoys today of a solo classical instrument is due to the single-handed efforts of Pandit ji. My grandfather has bestowed his unleveled musicality and honors received in all forms all over the world in the feet of Bhagwan at Arunachala. In the lifetime of Bhagwan, guidance came to all who turned to him, whether they approached him physically or not. Now, as then, it radiates with a special force from his ashram at the foot of Arunachala. Arunachala is one of the oldest and most sacred of all India's holy places. Bhagwan declared that it is a spiritual center of the world. Once a man has surrendered his life here, he belongs here. Wherever he may go, he shall return. For him, this is the door to liberation, as Bhagwan said. It is indeed not a new religion that Bhagwan brought upon earth, but a new hope, a new path for those who seek and aspire from every land. Bhagwan just said, I am here. He is here, in the eternal here and now. He is here in each devotee's heart, wherever in the world they may be. May I call upon Dr. Nitya, Debolina Ayarji, Srimati Aparna Kananji, Sabi Khannaji, and Preeti for lighting the lamp before Bhagwan. May I now call upon Janki Ramanji, the trustee of Ramanashram, to felicitate Dr. Anand, president of Ramanashram. Swami Chidananda ji, founder of FOWAI Foundation. KRISHNAN ji, Trustee of Ramanashram.
See, on behalf of the Ashram, we would like to recognize the Khanna family settled in Mumbai who have done great service to the Ashram. The late Harichand Khanna was from UP, Kanpur, and was a great devotee of Bhagavan. He was one of the few devotees whose samadhi is within the ashram, even though he was a family man. Khanna family now lives in Mumbai, and their house is always open to any devotee, and they host all the satsangs in Mumbai. And anyone who visit their home can immediately feel the presence and grace of Bhagavan there. So when I am not able to visit the ashram for quite some time, I visit Khanna's home. Sri Ramanasramam's entry into his Khanna's life can be understood in the light of the following dialogue, which is recorded in Talks with Ramana Maharshi. Late Khanna put a question. He said, the Upanishads say, I am told, that he alone knows the Atman, whom the Atman chooses. Why should the Atman chooses at all? If it chooses, why some particular person? Maharshi answered, when the sun rises, some buds alone blossoms, not all. Do you blame the sun for that? Nor can the bud blossom itself. It requires the sunlight to do it. Wonderful devotee's heart blossomed by the grace of Ramana Maharshi. Some of us who are, then after another time, Khanna asked Bhagavan that I have been coming to you, and this time I have remained more than a month, and I find no improvement in my conditions. My vasanas are as strong as ever. When I get back, my friends will laugh at me and ask what good my stay here in the ashram. Turning to Khanna, Bhagavan said, why distress your mind by thinking that jnana has not come or that vasanas has not disappeared? Don't give room for thoughts. In the last stanza, he quoted Tayumanavar and made him understood. Then he completely merged with Bhagavan. So I request our president to honor Anil Khanna. It is Anil Khanna. He has been distributing the Bhagavan's photo outside to everybody coming in. I now request Nitya to come here and honor Mrs. Sabi Khanna.
We will now have the chanting of Upadesa Saram led by Srimati Aparna Kananji.
पतन कारणं फलम शाश्वतं गति निरोधकं ईश्वरार्पितं
नेच्छया कृतं चित्तशोधकं मुक्तिसाधकं कायवाङ्मनः कार्यमुत्तमं पूजनं जपश्चिन्तनं क्रमात् जगत ईषधीयुक्तसेवनम् अष्टमूर्तिभृद्देवपूजनम् उत्तमस्तवादुच्चमन्दतः चित्तजं जपध्यानमुत्तमम् आज्यधारया स्रोतसा समम् सरलचिन्तनं विरलतः परम् भेदभावनात् सोऽहमित्यसौ भावनाभिदा पावनीमता भावशून्यसद्भावसुस्थितिः भावनाबलात् भक्तिरुत्तमा हृत्स्थले मनः स्वस्थता क्रिया भक्तियोगबोधाच्च निश्चितम् वायुरोधनालीयते मनः जालपक्षिवद्रोधसाधनम् चित्तवायवश्चित्क्रियायुताः शाखयोर्द्वयी शक्तिमूलका लयविनाशने उभयरोधने लयगतं पुनर्भवति नोऽमृतम् प्राणबन्धनालीनमानसम् एकचिन्तनान्नाशमेत्यजः नष्टमानसोत्कृष्टयोगिनः कृत्यमस्ति किं स्वस्थितिं यतः दृश्यवारितं चित्तमात्मनः चित्त्वदर्शनं तत्त्वदर्शनं मानसं तु किं मार्गणे कृते नैव मानसं मार्ग आर्जवात् वृत्तयस्त्वहं वृत्तिमाश्रिताः वृत्तयो मनो विद्यहं मनः अहमयं कुतो भवति चिन्वतः ऐपतत्यहं निजविचारणम् अहमिनाशभाज्यहमहन्तया स्फुरति हृत्स्वयं परमपूर्णसत् इदमहं पदाभिख्यमन्वहम् अहमीनकेऽप्यलयसत्तया विग्रहेन्द्रिय प्राणधीतमः नाहमेकसत्तज्जडं ह्यसत् सत्स्वभासिका चित्त्ववेतरा सत्तया हि चित्तया ह्यहम् ईशजीवयोर्वेषधीभिदा सत्स्वभावतोर्वस्तु केवलम् वेषहानतः स्वात्मदर्शनम् ईशदर्शनम् स्वात्मरूपतः आत्मसंस्थितिः स्वात्मदर्शनम् आत्मनिर्द्वयादात्मनिष्ठता ज्ञानवर्जिता किं स्वरूपमीत्यात्मदर्शने अव्यया भवा पूर्णचित् सुखम् बन्धमुख्यतीतं परं सुखम् विन्दतीह जीवस्तु दैविकः अहमपेतकं निजविभानकम् महदिदं तपो रमणवागियम्
महदितं तपो श्रीरमणवागियम्.
I now take this spiritual opportunity to introduce Dr. Anand Ramanan, from the President of Ramanashram. Dr. VENKAT S. Ramanan, MD, known as Anand Ramanan, is a great-grand-nephew of Maharshi, being the great-grandson of his Maharshi's brother, Niranjananand Swami. He was a medical doctor in USA. He assumed the office of the President of Sri Ramanashram in June 2020. Both his wife and he left an active practice in USA to serve the ashram full-time. His wife, Nitya Ramachandran, is a pediatrician. They are blessed with 2 children, a son and a daughter. His son is an attorney in the USA and daughter is doing her undergraduation. I now call upon Dr.
अंतर्यश्य बहिर्विदूततिमिरं ज्योतिर्मयं शाश्वतं स्थानं प्राप्य विराजते विनमताम् अज्ञानमुन्मूलयन् पश्यन् विश्वमपीतमुल्लसिति यो विश्वस्य पारे परः तस्मै श्रीरमणाय लोकगुरुवे शोकस्य हन्त्रे नमः. A very good morning to the fellow Atmans on this spiritual path to self-realization. And thank you for spending your Saturday morning in this important event, celebration of Ramanashramam's centenary, and which has been going on since 2022, September 1st. Today I want to thank Swami Chidananda ji, a personal friend, a great scholar, a great exponent of Bhagavan's teachings, for honoring our request to shed some light on Bhagavan's teachings, why it encompasses the whole fraternity of human beings, from the beginners of sadhana to the mature minds like all of us here today. I want to thank Anil Bhai and Sabi Babi for their several decades of service to Bhagavan, continuing the 3rd generation of service started by the world famous H.K. Khanna and continuing in the city of Mumbai. I want to thank Janaki Ramananna for his relentless service to Ramanashramam and being the trustee, and he spares a lot of time to the service of the ashram. Our ashram trustee KRISHNAN ji, my personal friend and tireless worker, somebody who serves the ashram 24/7, 365 days of the week, of the year. Swami Avadutananda for being here. And Sarva Bhaktananda Bhaktancha Hardik Swagat. And આજે આવેલા ગુજરાતી મિત્રોને મારે તરફથી આશ્રમ તરફથી હાર્દિક સ્વાગત. Friends, the topic for the ashram centenary when we chose was Sri Ramanashramam, the first 100 years, the next 100 years, and for eternity. And so this brings us to the question, why eternity? Why the next 100 years? Because as Bhagavan said, this Ishvaro Guru Meti, that is the God, Guru and the Self are the one. So Sri Ramanasramam is nothing but a temple for the Self. It's a temple of Advaita, and so it becomes the temple for our inner selves. And that is the reason why we must keep the flame, the concept of Arunachala, of Ramanashramam burning. And it's no surprise that it is at the foothills of the great Arunachala, the place of Mukti. So where else can it be? So it's a temple where we can all end this scourges of human birth and death. And through the teachings of Bhagavan, the direct path, we will all merge in the eternal Atman. So I will like to take you on a photographic journey of the ashram, the first 100 years, and how it formed brick by brick through the tireless service of my ancestors and numerous devotees, and it is their tribute which we will see in this video show. Thank you. And that's the emblem for the centenary celebrations, and it continues way beyond 2022. Ramanashram is a center of Jnana Marga for the practice of Atma Vichara based on Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi's teachings. It was established in 1922 after the Mathur Bhruteshwara's shrine was established. After Mother Aragammal was given mukti by Bhagavan in Skandashrama, she was given the burial for a Hindu saint in June 1922. And the Niranjanananda Swami moved down to perform daily pujas, but Bhagavan used to come from Skandashram down every day. But around Jayanti he stayed back, and there resulted in the wonderful center of Ramanashramam which developed around him. This is a picture from around the 70s. It's a rough topography of the ashram from the hill. And the famous gates called the gates to heaven, and where one loses oneself. Modern day. And I'll just, as I said, I'll continue. Don't have time. The things in the ashram are the mother shrine, the samadhi hall, the old hall, Veda Patashala, library and archives, the ashram dispensary, and then the other departments include the publications and the social outreach. Bhagavan in 1938, actually in this March 6th, he wrote, the devotees made him write a will in which he said one of the objectives of, the biggest objective of Ramanashramam is it should be kept as a center for the diffusion of spiritual knowledge and as a place of sanctity by affording scope for the fulfillment of objects germane to the advancement of spirituality, Bhagavan's will. And that is one of the most important objective of the ashram and will be continued for eternity. And these are just things that where we maintain the original teachings of Bhagavan and make them available all over the world, in all the world languages, and at a affordable cost, most of the times free. And we will use the modern technology for the transmission of teachings, including satsangs like this. The ashram conducts core activities which were started by Bhagavan, which include the pujas, parayana, festivals, kitchen service, and devotee accommodations, and preserves the ashram as an oasis of peace and maintain all activities endorsed by Bhagavan, and maintain the heritage buildings and preserve the original atmosphere objects. It is a temple of peace and a temple for Advaita Vedanta, where Bhagavan is the only Guru, where the devotee is taught by the living presence of Bhagavan. Bhagavan's grace opens up works as a portal which opens up the pores of the devotees and enters the core of every cell of their being and enters their Atman, and the teachings are gently transmitted to the teachers. We try to preserve the principle of silence, and of course we never solicit funds, and maintain it as a true ashram. And we encourage the formation of satsang groups so that the devotees can take back the atmosphere that they had obtained in the ashram, and wherever they settle in the world, they can meet as small groups and practice the teachings as per the gentle supervision of Bhagavan. So, the Mother Shrine. This was the first picture, and it was Ramanashramam began in 1922 as a single hut, and that's Bhagavan standing in the foreground and Mother Shrine. And slowly the workers started chipping away, and Swami Niranjanananda fulfilled his lifetime of building Mother Shrine in 1949, March 19th, 75 years ago, Kumbhabhishekam took place of Mother Shrine. And that's how it looks today. So I'll go on for paucity of time. Coming to the next important building, this is the Mahanirvana Hall, where April 14th, 1950, Bhagavan shed his mortal coil, and the famous column of light went across the hill and seen all over India. And to this day, every April 14th, there is chanting of Tiruvannamalai in front of the Mahanirvana Hall. And that is the bed. coming to the Samadhi, and this is the history of the Samadhi. It was Vaidyanatha Sabbati who was the architect of the architect of the Mathurabhuteshwara temple, also was behind the building of the Samadhi. The foundation stone was laid in 1952 by Sri Anandamayi Ma, and it was inaugurated in 1970. And this is the original Samadhi hall, and you could see even in those days there was a cry for silence, silence please. So the human tendency to make noise always is there, whether we are 5 or 10 or whether we are 50,000. So and this is the early parts of the Bhagavan Samadhi. On the left is Mathurabhuteshwara temple, on the right is the old hall. And you can see that the entrance of the old hall in those days was from towards the shrine, not from the hill, not as today. And that is my grandfather VENKAT in those days, Swami Ramananda, during the Kumbhabhishekam. And this is the hall today. During quieter times. And during, beautifully lit during Deepam. Old hall, and that's the reason most of you visit Ramanashramam to meditate. That's where Bhagavan lived for over 20 years, and most of his teachings were in silence, were obtained by devotees during that time. And the unique thing was he was present 24/7. You know, people slept at his feet, and you know, there was no privacy for Bhagavan. It was people also lived in old hall. You can see there is this is from Kaul Lakshmi's Samadhi. There is no door, so the entrance was from the other side those days. The old hall as we know it today. So the old hall was also rebuilt in the 80s because of termite damage, and the current old hall is the newer version, but it still continues as a testament to Bhagavan's teachings, both as a temple of silence for all who seek it. Dining hall where prasadam is given to the devotees. This is it's almost like the building has not been, the main building of the dining hall is it's almost like a heritage building. It's there from Bhagavan's time. The old cooks, and where Bhagavan used to have his meal, and that's where we all know that's where he used to have his meal. Just some pictures of as today. Of course, we have to tinker with a few changes. So we have made added some vegetable cutting machines which afford the cooks a little more time, and it's very efficient. And, the Veda Pathashala, which was which has a rich history to 1934, established during Bhagwan's time, and then later on in 1953 was re-established by Major Chadwick, an Englishman, Sadhu Arunachala, and it continues to grow, and roughly we have around 30 students now, full-time residential students. It's Bhagwan outside the Veda Pathashala, and probably one of the initial batches. That's Major Chadwick to the left of my grandfather Venkat and the students. There is Pujari Kittu Mama to my tata's right, and the teachers. That's again the imposing frame of Major Chadwick. And we all know this building as it stands today. And these are students hard at work. And I just made this slide to show that these kids don't slack. Their morning start at 4:30, and they have a very, very active learning schedule. So it goes on till 9:30, and for sake of time, I don't want to read and put guilt on all of us. So I'll just bypass it. The Ashram Goshala began in 1926 with the arrival of one single cow, Lakshmi, and the beauty is that the first major building of Ramanashramam was the Goshala. If you see it carefully, it's built with granite and with teak, Burma teak wood. While Mother Shrine was a thatched hut, Bhagavan insisted that the cow Goshala should be built so well. So it's such a aspirational statement that how a jnani can see so far out, that he knew that the ashram was going to develop anyway, so the Goshala had to be built with such loving care for cow Lakshmi. And she was no ordinary cow, as we know. She is a jnani who also attained liberation. And in fact, there is a statement there, he instructed the person who built it is, if you build a good Goshala for cow Lakshmi, the ashram will develop around it. Around the ashram will develop a small colony, and around this colony there will be a huge city which will come around. And we can see how prophetic Bhagavan's words are. And this is the original Goshala. This Bhagavan with some other cows, not cow Lakshmi. And that's with cow Lakshmi. And Goshala as it is today. We have around 250 cows, which encompasses most of the Indian native breeds. So we also try to preserve the genetic purity of the Indian cows, and we also have an old cow, the Goshala, where old cows are preserved in their old age, and they can spend their lifetime very peacefully looking at Arunachala. This is 3 to 4 miles away from Ashram. It's called Samudra Goshala. If you are in the area, you're please welcome to visit it. And this is the history of Cow Lakshmi. I'll just keep going. It's Cow Lakshmi. That's her. And her samadhi, beautifully adorned. You must see every Friday there is a puja performed to her shrine in the ashram. Coming to the Granthalaya, so in Bhagavan's time, the library, the few books, spiritual books, were kept in the old hall. And Bhagavan was probably the first librarian of the ashram. If any devotees had any questions, he would go and pull out the book and show the appropriate page to the devotee. But we have grown since then, and today we have over 40,000 spiritual books. So please, next time when you are visiting the ashram, please enjoy the library. And I'll just take it. This was the library which was present near Morvi and has been subsequently moved to its present location. And this is on the first floor of this building. The ground floor has a wonderful auditorium. This is the inauguration of the new library, and that's Appa Sri Ramanan inaugurating it. And so this is the auditorium at the ground floor of the library, and where spiritual discourses rarely, but musical concerts are held. Now, being a medical doctor with vasanas, how can I not talk about the dispensary? Now, it was inaugurated sometime in the late 1930s. So the not so fortunate people were treated by devotees of Bhagavan who happened to be medical doctors. And but Bhagavan also ended up getting minor surgeries in that dispensary, where he had when he developed the sarcoma of the arm, and he had those surgeries done and the dressings done. And so those buildings are very spiritual buildings too, where he demonstrated through his, almost like an onlooker-like treatment of his own most painful cancerous growth, as if it was happening to somebody else. He would look at it, where he showed that we can be with grace, we can go beyond the dimensions of the human body, for we are all the eternal Atman. So it's now a heritage building, but devotees are welcome to visit those rooms. And the new dispensary, was as it looks. It was built around 2010, and it continues to grow and fulfill a very important public service. Over 150 to 200 patients a day come and are treated for acute and chronic medical conditions. They are given 90 days of free medicines, and blood tests are performed free, and there are other free services provided. So by 2010, the dispensary was rebuilt and brought to the modern day. In addition to daily medical care, many camps are held thanks to Sri Ramanasramam brand of medicines, which are given free of cost. This is thanks to the help of devotees who get these medicines manufactured at cost price for the ashram. and Ashram gives it to to patients free of cost for 90 days. We all, Bhagwan's original writings are preserved in the archive buildings. Some of the few physical equipments that he used have been preserved here. It also preserves the original negative pictures of Bhagavan. So, the binocular that Bhagavan used, the tumblers that he used, the kamandalam, the camera used by Dr. T.N. Krishnasamy to take over 1,000 pictures of Bhagavan is on the left. And Bhagavan's writings, and you can, so beautiful handwriting of Bhagavan in Malayalam. Now, these are, guest houses are becoming an important portion of our service to the devotees. As we know, we make sure that the visiting devotees are given good basic care so that they can perform their sadhana very seamlessly. And we have around 225 rooms for the devotees. This is the Morvi guest house, and this Achalam guest house, some of our guest rooms, and this is the latest guest room built in the honor of Swami Ramananda, the third president of the ashram, as a part of the centenary celebration of the ashram. There's 21 double rooms just near the ashram, 5 minutes walk. The publication department is a very important part of this administration. We know that you have to maintain the original works of Bhagavan in the complete purity, and so that we make sure that all the original books are being published and in all the Indian languages and all the world languages. So I'd like to, for the Mumbai devotees, I'd like to tell you that we probably are going to have all the books in Marathi and in Gujarati very soon, at least 20 of them. So, thank you. And these books are distributed through devotees like you, and also like-minded organizations like Ramakrishna Mission and Chinmaya Mission too. And we also try to make sure that they are available to the modern generation through digital apps, through the Kindle. The ashram journals, I'll come to next, will be available through apps. The Mountain Path as an app, and the journal Sharanagati has apps. We have a radio station, Voice of Arunachala, which is a 24-hour radio station available through a digital app. The Ashram Parayana is also available as an app. As you know, the Ashram website has a treasury of information for any devotee. And we have an outreach through the social media also. It's done by this dedicated small group working tirelessly in the ashram office. And this is just a few, we have 200 books in English, 100 books in Tamil, and probably close to 100 books in Telugu, and we like to bring 15 to 20 books in all the Indian and world languages. And these are some of the languages. And one thing very interesting is there are 3 books of Bhagavan in Arabic language which have been sold out, Arabic language. And 8 more are being developed. And there are discussion groups of Bhagavan in some of those countries. And I wouldn't like to mention to protect those innocent people there. So there is, truly, this is not, it's happening. And we get devotees, thank you. Thank you. We get devotees from over 140 to 143 countries, including Arabic countries and mainland China, Taiwan. It's just a miracle, how gently his teaching has diffused all over the world. Everywhere in the world where there is a spiritual ripe mind, his portal, his silent grace, somehow penetrates through any geographical barrier and is able to reach. And all we are doing as ashram administrators is just to be gentle enablers of this divinity. Sorry. And this is the ashram bookstore and electronic books, as I mentioned. Just keep going. There's also audio books coming out in every language. The Ashram Mountain Path and Sharanagati is now available on the app. We'll also include the journals by other Kendras like the Ramana Jyoti and Ramanodayam on this app. So just the mountain path. And it's available as a free app. So I encourage all of you to download that app and read the magazine the second that it is released. So this is the voice of Arunachala, which is an audio radio station, which is available both on the Android and the Apple app. So please, if you have not, please check it out. And then the Parayana, the daily Tamil Parayana done in the ashram is also available as an app. So people can follow the recitations on their phone and chant along with the ashramites. The same thing about the Mountain Path app. And the beauty is you can search to the first copy from 1964. All the issues are available with the search feature. So people can easily go back and read the original articles. This is the Ashram web page, which again will be updated very soon. And the online bookstore where devotees can order books from anywhere. And as we know, we have a YouTube page too, where one can watch the daily Parayana, the Vedic chanting from 5 to 7 every day. And it's been growing as there are over 8 million views on this page. So it's counting. So it's very encouraging. And we do live telecast of all the ashram major events. The devotees can watch wherever they are in the world. And this is a Facebook page. We have over 1.5 million followers of the ashram original material. It's in various world languages. Of course, Instagram, WhatsApp, for the younger devotees. And the ashram also performs social activities. I know there is not enough time here, but I'll just quickly go through the Narayana Seva, the healthcare. We try to restore the temples around the ashram. We reserve the water bodies in the tanks, and we also, preserve the environmental purity of Arunachala by planting trees. The Narayana Seva, most of you must have seen it and volunteered as well. In the numbers, roughly it's around 1,000 people in various forms. It's a typical line. These are the following temples in Arunachala that the ashram has performed renovations. And these are some of the pictures. I'll just keep going. We, as you know, we maintain the Pali Tirtham, and then there's a temple behind the ashram called Pandava Tirtham. The whole temple has been renovated, and the tank of Pandava Tirtham has been renovated by the ashram. These are just some pictures, and this is actually how the tank was before and after, how the ashram beautifully renovated it, and this new tank inside the ashram. A library building at Bhagavan's birthplace in Tiruchui. And then the environmental tree planting in the hill. Friends, I'd like to end this talk by please requesting you, if today's function, it has to count. They say the why is more important than how. Why we are doing this function, why we are doing this centenary, so it's for the devotees. And Bhagavan's teachings can be practiced anywhere in the world. It can be practiced in a city as well as in a forest or in the ashram. So our request is, if small satsang centers are formed where devotees can meet, and it does not need a physical building, even in a devotee's home, if 5 families, 10 families can meet even once a month and meet and chant, discuss Bhagavan's teachings, read, that is what matters. That's why we all have come out to meet you all and just request you to embark on this important activity. Please continue this to be the apostle of Bhagavan's teachings and be the candlelight which lights from one candle to another. And that's my humble request to you. And I want to thank the Bombay Kendra, the Bombay devotees, for inviting us all. And it's nice to see such a wonderful turnout, and my humble pranams to all of you, and Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Thank you.
Bhagwan's teachings have an accommodating nature of astonishing width and depth. people who are in their early stages of spiritual learning, either in terms of scholarship or in terms of viveka and vairagya, receive essential guidance from Maharishi's teachings on how they may rise to higher levels. People who have already come a long way are endowed with scriptural knowledge and are skilled in dealing with forces like desire and anger, also get from Ramana's teachings powerful and valuable insights to walk the last mile. Swami Chidananda has been a Ramana devotee from 1984, if not before. Hailing from Udupi district in Karnataka, he had learned from his mother that his grandfather, Sadashiva, used to run to Tiruvannamalai frequently to sit at the feet of Bhagwan. During his 18 years with Chinmay Mission, that is from 1984 to 2002, his studying and teaching Vedanta were all in time informed and enriched by Sri Raman Maharishi's life and teachings. He is the founder head of FOWAI Forum, a non-profit organization devoted to self-inquiry. FOWAI stands for the flame of Who Am I? He received sannyas in 1992 from Swami Chinmayanandaji and holds an M.Tech from IIT Madras 1982. He lives in Mumbai since 2022. May I now call upon Swamiji to take over.
अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशेर यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि भक्तिं मे निर्मलां देहि चरणाब्जद्वये तव विषयेषु विरक्तिं च Bhagavan Karunanidhe. After the presentation, which was indeed very enriching, the last 30 years I must have gone some 20 times. Many things in the presentation I did not know. I feel very, very enriched. I did not know the multitude of programs and areas where the ashram has been active. That makes me, and I'm sure everybody here, so much happier. Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi has been such a great source of highest wisdom, so much of solace, and he is for me a source of great clarity in number of issues, because he in his teachings goes to the center or the bottom of the problem. Though it may first appear puzzling to many people, because as they used to call it, Ramabana in Maharshi's hands, no matter what problem somebody comes with, Maharshi would say, who has the problem? And when the visitor says, I have the problem, what is that I? Somehow, by his grace only, I sort of got fascinated by that approach way back in 84 or so. I had left a job in New Delhi and come over to Mumbai to POWAI to study 2 years of Vedanta course. And perhaps in a couple of months after I joined this ashram in POWAI, in the library of Chinmaya Mission, I found this book, Life and Teachings of Sri Ramana Maharshi, or Teachings of Sri Ramana Maharshi in his own words by Arthur Osborne. I could not put that down. I said, my God, this is pure gold. And I have not looked back. Since then, I am primarily Bhagavan's devotee, though my prarabdha, I am on one hand very active in teaching all sorts of Vedanta texts. On the other, my prarabdha took me to J. Krishnamurti. I spent 10 years in Varanasi in the Krishnamurti Center. In fact, having said that, I must clarify that Krishnamurti's light on the functioning of our psychology helped me appreciate Bhagavan's teachings more deeply, more clearly, according to me myself, though here and there I do come across members of my audience who politely say to me, you are bringing Krishnamurti into Bhagavan's teachings and maybe Bhagavan didn't say this. Now let's not go into those debates. After all, every one of us, through our lifespan, comes across many schools of philosophy, comes across many schools of wisdom, and a little bit of our own outlooks are bound to arise. But I feel that I was enriched in a certain dimension by the light of Krishnamurti. Let me not go into him now, but I should go into him slightly maybe. In what way did I get enriched? Bhagavan asks us to question this I. And what is this I? How is it formed? What is it constituted of? Things like, it's not really very complicated. The I, that is ego, is made of memories. The ego is made of certain conditionings. The little I in us is the product of certain influences from early childhood or maybe from past lives also. The sense of who I am has been programmed by so many inputs. And someone like J. Krishnamurti goes a lot into those influences. In fact, in a way I must confess that going into all those explanations of how the I is formed, in one sense is wonderful, but in another sense I would blame myself. Such people go to Krishnamurti who have less vairagya. I am one of them. If someone has high vairagya, and I think Bhagavan has said this, one doesn't need intellectual explanations. One just targets the little I, and without seeking some elaboration on why I believe this way, why I value something that way, why I am attracted by something, or why I detest something else. Maharshi would say, why do you need all these explanations? Whether it's an attraction or a repulsion or a belief or low self-esteem or high self-esteem, whatever it is, why don't you simply reject it? Is Bhagavan's call. But many of us, thanks to, as I already said, thanks to means due to less vairagya, and certain intellectual restlessness. We want to go into explanations. It gives us a certain pleasure. I have both enjoyed and suffered because of this intellectual unrest. And sorry to say, my audiences also have enjoyed my lectures and suffered. Because if I go into some explanation, they are impressed. Wow, I never knew this. But I am sure some of them with more vairagya maybe than even what I have, later on discover, but what a waste of time it was to go into those explanations. So let me not go more into it. This morning here, I too would express great delight in coming together in quite a large number here in this beautiful hall. I am trying to shed some light or elaborate on the wide range of Bhagavan's teachings. In Bhagavan's teachings, we have something for the utter beginners too, and quite a good amount for very advanced philosophers. Those who have actually studied the teachings may get stuck at some, very subtle point, and Bhagavan answers it. The talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi, for example, I mean a very 11th hour person, I had not prepared anything at all. I said, at 3:30 a.m. I couldn't sleep. My God, what will I talk today? 3:30 a.m. onwards I am up and on, I downloaded the entire talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi from Google because my book is somewhere in Bangalore or somewhere. My books, 1,000 of my books are scattered at some 5 or 6 places because I have been moving. I downloaded successfully, went on searching for a certain thing which I wanted to double check. And in talk 261, I found it. Let me begin with that as the example. In talk 261, probably October 1, 1936 or so, somebody, let me read that, because it's, if you'd ask me, is there some mind-boggling issue which somebody brought to Bhagavan and Sri Maharshi calmly answered it and sorted it out? I would point out to this. And there are many like this. This is an advanced issue. Some of you may also get puzzled and some of you may not have come across this. Talk 261 says, there was a reference to reincarnation. Reincarnation of Shanti Devi tallies with the human standards of time. Whereas the latest case reported of a boy of 7 is different. The boy is 7 years now. He recalls his past births. Inquires go to show that the previous body was given up 10 months ago. Let me come out of the quote before I continue. The boy is 7 years old. He remembers his past life. A certain person who died, and this boy remembers that was me. Okay. And then when they inquired, when did that old man die, who has now come as this little child? The old man died just 10 months ago. 10 months ago the old man died, and a 7-year-old boy here remembers that was me. So back to the quote, the question arises, how the matter stood for 6 years and 2 months previous to the death of the former body. Did the soul occupy 2 bodies at the same time? Very intriguing question. Sri Bhagavan pointed out that the 7 years is according to the boy, 10 months is according to the observer. The difference is due to these two different upadis. The boy's experience extending to 7 years has been calculated by the observer to cover only 10 months of his own time. Sri Bhagavan again referred to Leela's story in Yoga Vasishta. I don't claim to have fully understood this, but it's so mind-boggling. What is 7 years, that boy's age, and what is 10 months, because 10 months back the previous body died, Maharshi says are according to two different scales. And these two different scales come about. How do they happen? They come about because two different observers. The upadi, the body-mind of the boy, and the upadis of others who made inquiries, and so on. I'm sure every one of you here would think of Einstein, who said time is not absolute. Time is relative to the position of the observer. If the observer especially moves at speeds closer to that of light, time slows down. We talk of anything slowing down on the axis of time. But the very statement, time itself slows down, is very mind-boggling. But in 1936, Maharshi calmly, without batting an eyelid, said, the time is relative to the upadis, the observer, and so on. How interesting that the self-knowledge, the illumined consciousness, where the last traces of the ego are wiped out, where pure consciousness shines with no divisions, with no difference between others and oneself. The pure consciousness, the non-dual truth, is activating, enabling the mind of the sage, while the sage completely knows he is not the mind. I believe when somebody asked Maharshi Ramana once, you say that you are not the body, we are not the body, and all that, but who is answering us at this moment? And Maharshi said something like, nobody is answering. The one who is asking the question and the one who is answering is all your mind's projection. What actually is Sat Chit only. The Shuddha Brahma, which is existence, consciousness. Another bombshell. So many are the revelations that Maharshi makes in all the talks. I should not say talks only, in through his silence too. Much of what I will share now, practically most of you know. Many people came with lot of questions, but as they sat quietly in front of Maharshi, their questions vanished. They went back with so much peace in their hearts. So while I shared with you a high plateau question which Maharshi handled with such dexterity, let me give an example of how he guided devotees, he guided his visitors on level 2, level 3 and so on, in a manner of saying. A whole lot of us are not so intellectual, we don't grapple with the very advanced questions. We sometimes want to know how we should conduct our sadhana. Right away, that is a Madhyama Adhikari. Uttama Uttama, Madhyama and Manda. The Shastras talk about 3 levels. Uttama Adhikaris are able to examine very advanced nuances of this wisdom. Madhyama Adhikaris are unable to have a hold on those teachings, but they are inspired to put in effort. So somebody once asked the Sri Maharshi, what is your advice? What is the best sadhana? And Bhagavan, rather than answering with some technical words, do some Dahara Vidya or some other Upasana, there are so many big words from the Upanishadic literature which can bamboozle the visitor. Maharshi said, and so sweet, number one, he said, sattvic food in moderate quantity is the best sadhana. My God. I'll tell you, I must confess before you, I also almost every day have sometimes low moments. I feel low about something or the other because our mind goes on judging. This mind is very judgmental. It's very fond of labeling her, labeling him, labeling them, and then you can't suddenly change the gear. You end up labeling yourself also. 5 minutes ago you considered somebody as wicked, and you said also to a friend. But 5 minutes later, I think I am more wicked than he is. Our mind does that. But I tell you, when I come across the teachings like this, sattvic food in moderate quantity is the best sadhana. Somewhere else he said to devotees, be moderate in 3 things: in food, in speech, and in sleep. This doesn't require, some special qualification in logic or special visualization, 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional visualization, etc. Be moderate. And he is both sweet and kind. He doesn't say starve, nor does he permit us to overeat. Be moderate. And everyone can figure out what is moderate for them. For one of us, 2 idlis may be moderate. There are some among us, 5 is moderate. I don't want to elaborate more, but I myself am of the view that in words, that is speech, in food, in sleep, and maybe in other matters also, financial dealings, etc., we are made differently. What is moderate for me will not be moderate for somebody else. That one has to find out through some trial and error. Our own conscience tells us, hey, you talk too much today. And another day our own conscience says, why were you so silent? You should have joined the dialogue. So one should find out. And the magnanimous teachings of Sri Ramana Maharshi give us that liberty. Find out. Go at your own pace. Nobody is pushing you. Be true to yourself. Such is the beauty of those teachings. Now, in Ramana Gita, there is the chapter 6, Mano Nigraha Upayaha. And Bhagavan Maharshi shows a certain width, certain broad range of his teachings. At the same time, he doesn't take an academic approach and give so many, which may get a PhD for you, but everybody is tired of it. Just what sadhakas need. He talks in Ramana Gita, saying breath control can be one way to control your mind, mano nigraha. Then he gives a certain deeper meaning of pranayama. Then of course mantranam japaha, mantra japa endorses. But the sweetest is in that chapter of just 12 verses. The last verse says, if not anything, just to go and be around people whose consciousness is on a high plateau. Sahavasena mahatam satam aruda chetasam. That's the beautiful poetic expression. Sahavasa. That's what many of our, our parents, grandparents typically did in those days. We hear that our grandmother used to go, our grandfather used to go, some of us, When I left a so-called good job in New Delhi and joined the ashram, one of my elder sisters, Lalitakka, everybody was disturbed. What has gone wrong with this boy? He was okay till recently. Now he has left. And somebody even said, we should have got him married, everything would have been all right. Before you could catch him and get him married, he slipped from your hands. But Lalitakka said to relatives and friends, no, don't say like that. If his grandfather Sadashivaya were alive at this time, he would have been so happy. That time Bhagavan had not come in the picture. I was joining the Chinmaya mission. But she referred to Sadashivaya, who used to go to Maharshi very regularly, and once got scolded also by Maharshi, because he stayed on and on, was not going back home. In fact, that is the only memory I have of my mother saying an anecdote. Your grandfather used to go to Ramana Maharshi, and once Bhagavan said to him, Yenna Sadashiva, you are not going home. Don't be so irresponsible. Pack up and go. Your wife and children must be waiting. Those days there was no WhatsApp and all those things. They must be even wondering whether our man is alive or what happened to him. So Bhagavan scolded him. Sometimes I think that Bhagavan must be scolding me also every day for saying things which should not be said, or not saying things which should be said. Because as the saying, there's a shloka, right? Aparada sahasram kriyate aharnisham maya. You and I, sadhakas on the path, commit so many mistakes of commission and omission, almost daily. In spite of our best intentions, things do go wrong. So, let's see one more example. In fact, I didn't talk about the middle level. Now, for those who are neither very profound in philosophical thinking, nor want very simple do's and don'ts, there are a middle level who want a certain general outline of spiritual philosophies. Upadesa Sara, which we recited at the beginning of Sankshan, is, I think, one of the most unique and extraordinary works. In just 30 verses, can you imagine? Maharshi Ramana gives us the essentials of Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga, and of course his own forte, Jnana Yoga, especially the Vichara Marga. In the first 20 verses itself of those 30, Bhagavan gives to us essentials. With my own background of science and mathematics, I was astounded to see the crispness of his teachings. And in order to be very crisp or short or concise, suppose there were to be a compromise with precision, that would not be desirable. Crisp, short, but very precise. For example, he talks about Raja Yoga. Patanjali's Raja Yoga has all those 8 stages. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, maybe I missed one, 8 of them. Bhagavan says, with all due regard to all of them, in Patanjali's Yoga, Raja Yoga, essentially it is about controlling the mind. Yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. And rather than going into many other sadhanas, he comes straight into how breathing and thinking are related, very closely related, and he just says, Pranarodhanat Linamanasam Ekachintanat Nashametyadaha. Control your breathing by either regular pranayamas, or those of us who are more skilled can just observe the breathing and the mind calms down. When the mind becomes lean, more or less dissolved in its source, not fully, use that mind to inquire. Ekachintanat Nashametyadaha. How wonderful! In bhakti also he gives the essentials. Karma also. In fact, you and I in this world sometimes are so distracted and disturbed. One line, half a shloka of Upadesa Saram. Ishwararpitam nechaya kritam. Do everything as an offering to God. Don't do things with what did I get, what will I get, what did I get. It is a thorn in our flesh to worry about what we got in the past, what we are getting in the future, what we will get in, what we are getting in the present, what we will get in the future. This, I am talking in Mumbai, let me use one sentence in Hindi. मुझे क्या मिला, क्या मिल रहा है, और आगे जाकर क्या मिलेगा. Stop this. That is called इच्छया कृतम. Ask yourself, मैंने समाज को, ईश्वर को, भगवान को क्या दिया? What did I give? What did I offer? ईश्वर अर्पितम चित्तशोधकम मुक्ति साधकम. In fact, even the chandas, the meter of Upadesa Sara is the shortest I have come across so far. Anushtup, which is so common, in Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Sahasranama and so many works. 8, 8, 8 and 8. But Upadesa Sara, 5, 5, 5 and 5. Karturajnaya prapyate phalam, 5, 5. Karma kim param, 5. Karma tajjadam, 5. All the way till the 30th verse. Shortest meter, and then so much of wisdom is poured into it. That is for Madhyama Adhikaris, because those who are on the middle level do want some philosophical exposure, can't go very far, and if you give them just do's and don'ts, they are not satisfied. They need to know a little more. Again, coming back to the high plateau, Bhagavan talks about Hridaya Vidya. I myself cannot claim to have fully understood it. He talks about Spurana, a certain I throbbing. And he is a bit unique also there. That Spurana we don't find in the general Upanishads. Somewhere it would be, because Bhagavan hasn't deviated from the Upanishadic tradition. In fact, I must hasten to add, I have been a student and to an extent a teacher of Shankara's Advaita Vedanta. We teach Sankara Bhashya also at places. I have been startled that nowhere I found Bhagavan's teachings at variance from Shankara's insights. Shankara goes into a whole lot of terrific insights, and with our mind goes to something Bhagavan said in a much simpler way. Exactly, it is the same. How could so much of the Upanishadic Bhashya scholarship, tallies very well with the simple sage who sat at the foot of the Arunachala hill and answered questions. In this particular life, 1879 to 1950, I am fond of saying, one is the years, another is he came to Tiruvannamalai at the age of 17, and then the body dropped when he was 7-1. 17 to 7-1. In those 54 years, he met scholars. They came and said, Shankara says this, Viveka Chodamani says that, Yoga Vasishta says, they said. He listened quietly, and then he was able to put things in a proper place. So, Hardha Vidya, Spurana, or why go round and round? The pure self-inquiry that Maharshi has been taught, and that is the core, that is the heart of his legacy, right? Who am I? Inquiry. So my little non-profit or non-government organization also I've named it as Flame of Who Am I? FOWAI. So I spent many years in POWAI, then when I left for some reason, with some, mischief or some taste for coining interesting words, I said, okay, I'm now going from POWAI to FOWAI. In fact, even when I was in POWAI, Chinmaya Mission's Ashram, when I was teaching, I would refer to Maharshi Ramana's quotes, etc. a lot. I would say to my students, you know what POWAI is? It is the power of who am I. POWAI. Then my prarabdha made me leave the Chinmaya mission. I said, now what do I do? From POWAI, I said, let us go for FOWAI. What a confession. So I have been playing with words, not doing serious self-inquiry. Today, participating in this program, part of me says, stop talking too much, be silent. Summa stay quiet. In fact, I had a beautiful thought as I was sitting next to Sri Ramananji. I said, what am I aiming at? Whether I am recognized as a writer or not, speaker or not, whether I am looked at by society as a stupid fellow who, etc., etc., does it matter? What is important is pure devotion to Maharshi. I have offered a tiny prayer to Bhagavan. Bhagavan, just give me pure devotion to your lotus feet, how I am looked at in the society, whether I build an ashram and go about, all that is of no use. All that is so superficial. In our heart, if we have steady devotion to God or a sage like Sri Ramana Maharshi, that is truly worth it. So, the teachings that are a blessing for everyone, most unskilled ones too. There was a villager who once came when Maharshi Ramana was surrounded by, as we read in the literature, some Vedic scholars. The Vedic scholars can be a scary lot many times. In the sense, with all that vibhuti and some chandan and that dhoti and uttariya, sometimes even their tummy also scares people. And they talk half in Sanskrit and they quote. So I added some spice to this now. But a villager, it is recorded, a villager came and stood at a distance. He wanted to meet the Swami, but the Swami was surrounded by these Vedic scholars. In this life I cannot come anywhere near these Vedic scholars. I don't know even a word of Sanskrit. He felt low. Yes, because human mind is so much given to comparison. Comparison and competition are such a problem in human life. What we have, we don't value. We compare ourselves with somebody who has a little more and we sulk. So that happened. It happens to the richest people, most scholarly people also in the world, is comparing and feeling low. Right? So This villager was depressed. The Vedic scholars left in another 5 minutes. Bhagavan called him. Hingeva called him. Why do you look a bit depressed? What happened to you? And Swami, all these people are so learned. I don't even make head or tail of what they were discussing with you. Do I have any chance at all of reaching God, making my life sarthaka? Something like that, he said. Bhagavan said to him, you have perhaps more chance than that they have. Of course, I'm adding some words with my, but something like that. Then the main thing quoted in the literature, he said, tell me what makes you feel low. I don't know anything like these people are discussing with you, Swami. He said, see, you have this thought, I don't know. Just inquire, who feels one doesn't know? Just ask, what is the light that is illumining that thought? Terrific. And you will reach the goal. What is important is not so much of information. What Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, what Chandogya Upanishad says, who was the guru, who is the student in Mundaka, or what is the story of Yoga Vasishta, etc., etc. A scholar, a speaker like me may have a lot of information, but many a time scholars are unable to control their mind. The mind just goes. Once Aldous Huxley said about J. Krishnamurti, I envy Krishnamurti. Aldous Huxley was a genius, a prodigy. At a very young age he had published many books and was highly recognized in America and perhaps internationally. So they asked him, why do you envy this Krishnamurti? He hasn't got so much of knowledge. And Aldous Huxley said, I tell you, when I go for a walk, looking at a leaf, I get some ideas. Looking at a cloud, I get some ideas. Or without looking at anything also, ideas and words and thoughts and concepts rush in my mind. I just cannot control them. And referring to Krishnamurti, he said, Krishnamurti says sometimes he goes for a 45 minutes walk with absolutely no thought. Of course, what is meant in the literature, no thought means the thought about oneself. Oh, I didn't reach there, others got there. Or sometimes pride, this I. Maharshi makes it very clear in the literature, aham vritti. Aham vritti, he doesn't just say vritti. Aham vritti is the problem. A moment our mind says, I am successful, that's a judgment. Another time our mind says, of what use is living? I am such a failure. That's another I thought. In fact, I clarify in my talks on Bhagavan's works, this aham vritti is a thought, I don't say just about me, a thought that describes and pigeonholes the I. A thought that describes and pigeonholes meaning higher or lower, or I am like him, I am as good as he is, I am like her. So you have put yourself in a vertically and horizontally spread out scenario. So, like Aldous Huxley said about Krishnamurti, he is able to be free from thought, which means I thought. Therefore I envy him, I can't do that. Likewise, in that very inspiring example of Bhagavan Maharshi guiding that villager, he was not just trying to please the villager. Yeah, maybe you can get it faster than them. Not just to please the villager. There's a deep truth in it. If this villager is able to gently watch thoughts, gently stand apart, gently focus on who am I? not worrying about that Sanskrit. Though it has its place, we respect. Our ashram has the Veda Patashala, and very important. And Vedas are sacred. Vedas. There are some of us for whom it is our swadharma to study the Vedas, to teach the Vedas. In God's creation, Sri Krishna says in the Gita, right? Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha. God wants a certain percentage of humanity to roll up their sleeves and dig deep into Vedas, learn as much as possible. God wants some other percentage of humanity to develop the Kshatriya qualities, some others the Vaishya qualities. So, what is said to that villager should not be suddenly applied to anybody and everybody. Suppose somebody has great love for Shastra, enjoys studying, enjoys sharing. He or she should not see this example. Yeah, I think I'm fed up of this. Let me also tomorrow onwards just ask to whom is this knowledge. Because this person's swadharma is different, it's not wise for him to do it. So Huxley should remain Huxley, Krishnamurti should remain Krishnamurti, but both of them, or anybody among them, along with where we are good at, along with continuing to be good at wherever we are good at, we must actually conduct self-inquiry. So lastly, I would say that no other example is needed. His championing self-inquiry. Bhagavan holding self-inquiry high above everything else and supporting it with so much of explanations is a great gift to humanity. 100 years the ashram has completed. For 100 years and hundreds of years, I am very sure that these teachings and the life of this Bhagavan of ours will be a source of great inspiration, great joy, and great solace to anyone who comes near and is ready to receive it. Ask, ye shall be given, is a biblical statement. And that is so with the teachings of Bhagavan Maharshi. Go near, ask, and ye means you will be given, you will receive it. Knock, and the door shall open. That kind of things are said. I am humbled by the invitation made by the ashram to me, the president to me, and it is my great privilege to be here and sharing some thoughts with all of you. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.
Thank you, Swamiji, for such an inspiring speech. Having been drawn to Bhagwan from the tender age of 8, by listening to anecdotes from his grandfather, who stayed with Bhagwan during the Virupaksha cave days for a year, Krishnanji, later, during his high school days, had the blessing of associating himself with the Janki Mat Ashram in Tanjore. Thus he was drawn to Bhagwan and Sri Ramanasram, which he visited in 1978 for the first time when he was 32. The seed that was sown at the first visit as a small desire to dedicate his life to the services of the ashram bore the fruit after nearly 30 years. He feels blessed to have totally dedicated his life to ashram by totally surrendering to Bhagwan's grace. May I call upon Krishnanji to speak a few words?
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Namaskaram to all the devotees of Bhagavan. Bhagavan is very unique in so many ways. As a lad of 16, he was called by Arunachala, and he also responded, came running to the Father, and never left Arunachala afterwards. So are his devotees. They are also very unique in surrendering themselves to Bhagavan in their own way. Each one has a unique way to come to Bhagavan. Somebody's father was with him, somebody's grandfather was with him, somebody is born in the family. Everybody has a unique way, but all come to Bhagavan. And once they come to Bhagavan, that's it. There is no looking back. They are unique in another sense. Bhagavan shines in them. So in each one of the devotees, Bhagavan shines. And every other devotee see the devotee as Bhagavan himself, sharing their coming to Bhagavan. And as Swamiji said, he has a unique way of answering the doubts. So many people, they explain and everything, but Bhagavan has the unique way of keeping everything in, meeting everything in his silence and make the mind also silence who come near him. As President Anand Ramananji requested, we look upon all of you, the devotees of Mumbai, to have a satsang, regular satsangs, so that Bhagavan's teachings are well observed, well absorbed, and it helps all of you in getting liberation. That is the aim. We all aim at getting totally liberated. So the ashram administration looks upon all of you to have regular satsangs in any place of your convenience. Please meet regularly and have satsangs. And when you have time, please visit ashram. We are taking all efforts to make your stay very comfortable so that you can spend the time in sadhana. We assure you we will be of your immense service to all of you visiting devotees. And whenever you need a break, please come to your home, the ashram, and have some sadhana time. With these few words, I conclude my speech, but before that, I want to felicitate Sri Janaki Raman. We will be failing in our duty if we don't do that. He was a guiding factor for the ashram as well as for the function. So I invite President Anandji to honor him. Namo Ramanaya.
We will now have a musical concert by Pandit BRIJ Narayan and Harsh Narayan. This is the very first time in my life, I must suggest, that I've got this opportunity to introduce my own father and brother. May I please invite them to come on the stage. On the Sarod Pandit BRIJ Narayan, the eldest son and disciple of the world-renowned Sarangi maestro, Pandit Ram Narayan, is one of the greatest and world-renowned Sarod players. Panditji became greatly fascinated by the sound of Sarod and took initial lessons of handling the instrument from Ustad Ali Akbar Khan. However, he began his musical training soon after his father and guru, Pandit RAMANAN, whose powerful musicality and adaptability to a wide range of gharanas provided him the tools to develop his own original style. Another feature of his father's training is the method of Rag Vistar and deep insight into the theory of traditional performance methods. Thus, BRIJ Narayan has fully embraced the traditional system and is able to express his music with the confidence and mastery that comes from sound training. He has been performing on the concert stage since 1971. Over the years, he has appeared in numerous international film festivals all over the world. Some of the prominent universities in which he has given lecture demonstrations for propagating our rich Indian music are at the Pittsburgh University, Cornell University, Pennsylvania University, University of Oklahoma, Chicago University, and continues to do so. He has also performed extensively in Europe and Australia. Pandit BRIJ Narayan is an enthusiastic educator. He was the principal teacher in Akal Academy in Badu Sahib in Himachal Pradesh for several years and has trained about 40 students in that institution alone. The teaching program designed by him involved a traditional approach towards the study of classical instruments. He is also actively training young students in Mumbai who study the sarod, rabab, and sitar under him. A number of foreign students also received training under him. The list of awards of Panditji include President's Gold Medal in 1967, Scholar of Bharat Sangeet Sabha 1968, Dhagar Gharana Award by Mewar Foundation 1996, Kumar Gandharva Rashtra Samman 1996, Soham Sanjeevani Puraskar in 2001, Sudhanshu Award by Kelly Foundation in 2009, Marwar Sangeet Ratna Award by His Highness Gaj Singh Ji in 2012, Sangeet Shri Award 2016 by the Arts and Culture Trust of India, Shresht Kala Shiromani and Swar Samman 2015, Sangeet Natak Akademi Award in 2015, Swar Bhushan Award in 2017 by the Pioneer Arts of Education Society. On the Sarangi, we have Harsh Narayan. Harsh Narayan is the leading Sarangi player of the younger generations. His father is the Sarod maestro Pandit BRIJ Narayan and his aunt is a Sarangi virtuoso Aruna Narayan Kalle. And as if that is not enough of the rarefied birth, his grandfather is none other than the legendary Sarangi maestro Padma Vibhushan Pandit Ram Narayan. Credited by experts worldwide for bringing the Sarangi to the forefront of Indian classical music as a solo instrument of the highest order. Harsh Narayan has had the great fortune of studying with his grandfather since the age of 6. While under his caring guidance of his illustrious teacher, Harsh's musicianship was developed and his natural talent was exposed. Right from the start, Harsh embraced this training with a passion for the Sarangi, a highly technical and very challenging instrument to play. This passion has been surpassed by his devotion to his grandfather and to the musical legacy that he wholeheartedly embraced. This musical foundation, a well-rounded and rigorous training by a family of maestros led to virtuosity that can be witnessed in his concerts presentation. A-graded artist from All India Radio. His total command of Sarangi playing technique allows him an invisible degree of creative freedom, coexisting the inherently musicality of the instrument with the flair of the seasoned performer. In 2006, he had the opportunity to perform along with his grandfather at the Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi for Dr. Abdul Kalam, President of India. In December 2019, Harsh received the Shanmukanand Sangeet Shiromani Award by Shanmukanand Fine Arts and Sangeet Sabha. More recently was conferred with the Akhil Bharatiya Pratibha Puraskar 2019 in Delhi by Arts and Cultural Trust of India. Harsh also received the Ustad Abdul Wahid Khan Samman 2018. More recently, Harsh received the prestigious Sangeet Natak Academy Ustad Bismillah Khan Yuva Puraskar in 2020. Blessed with a unique musical background and an invaluable classical training, Harsh Narayan is eminently qualified to expand upon the enormous body of work of his grandfather while establishing himself among the new generation of Indian classical musicians and Sarangi torchbearers. On the tabla we have Tarun Lala. He is a young, promising tabla player. He has learned under Pandit Arvind Maulkar and late Pandit Shubhankar Banerjee. He has accompanied Pandit BRIJ Narayan and Harsh on many occasions. Enjoy the musical concert.
नहीं नहीं बहुत नज़दीक मत लाओ यार। हाँ ये ठीक है और मुझे गेम लेना है यहाँ से।
अच्छा वॉल्यूम दो यार, वॉल्यूम दो, उसको गेन दो मेरे को। बंदी है वो। थोड़ी मुझे चाहिए यार, ये देखो नहीं ऊपर करो थोड़ा। हाँ ठहरो ठहरो, हाँ बस बस, हाँ अच्छा ओके बस, वाह करें शुरू करें। बोलने के लिए जरा बोलने का माइक दे दीजिए मुझे। हाँ वो आपको कॉर्डलेस ही नहीं था, कॉर्डलेस एक सेकंड देखता हूँ। उधर से ऑन करता हूँ, हाथ में उधर से ऑन करता हूँ। Hello, hello. अच्छा, मुझे थोड़ा सा मिड रेंज बढ़ा दीजिए और ये जो हाई मिड रेंज ज़्यादा चाहिए, लोअर बस. थोड़ी वॉल्यूम दे दीजिए मुझे, वॉल्यूम दे दीजिए. बहुत चाहिए. साउंड ही नहीं है.
ये भी अच्छा है.
थोड़ा वॉल्यूम और नहीं मिलेगा क्या? अच्छा, 57. 57. अच्छा, चलो ठीक है. कितना नजदीक आके भी अगर मुझे ना वो नहीं आ रहा. और ठीक है. To all the devotees of Sri Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi, I am greatly honored by the entire committee members to invite me here. And I am not playing a concert here. I have come here to take blessings of Sri Raman Maharishi. So this is not a concert. Whatever I'll be playing will be a blessing to God and prayer from ourselves. So please treat it as a prayer to Sri Raman Maharishi. And I request all of you to bless us for this wonderful occasion that we have got. Thank you very much. I'll be playing a late morning raga called Todi, Shuddha Todi. We will be playing a little alap followed by a composition in Teen Tal. So I'll start with Todi, morning raga, late morning raga. Okay, चल start कर दो. First of all, I would like to thank all of you. I have not played a concert. I have come here to take blessings from Raman Maharishi. I am very moved with all of you, your presence, and you heard me so nicely. I thank God that this opportunity has been given to me by all of you. Thank you very much for all this. Thank you. Thank you.
On behalf of the Ashram, I want to thank you, Pandits, for transporting us into a spiritual journey through your music. And I'm sure we enjoyed it more than how you played. I think it was a mutual heart-to-heart journey. And I'm sure we thank you with all our hearts for...
I seek your blessings, and I want to play music for God always.
Thank you.
That has been from beginning, that has been my... I wish all of you should pray for me that I play more music for Lord. Thank you very much.
Lunch will be served in the adjoining hall. Please, all devotees, thank you for spending the whole Saturday with us and in this wonderful satsang. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.